Hey everybody, this is Noah Diffenbaugh at Stanford University, and I'd like to welcome you to this Hangouts on Air to discuss climate change, evidence for climate change, and doubts that people may have in the evidence for climate change. I want to say in opening that I scheduled this hangout in conjunction with the Heartland Institute Climate Change Conference, which is this week, is concluding today. I was invited to speak at the conference, and I did in fact agree to speak. Unfortunately, my commitments on campus, pre-existing commitments to student dissertation defenses, qualifying exams, seminar visitors, etc., precluded me from actually being in Chicago. I did offer to speak to the conference and have discussions via Hangouts on Air. Unfortunately, that invitation by me was not accepted by Heartland, so I've scheduled this Hangouts on Air to try to have that discussion with anyone who is interested.
We addressed it in your Google Plus thread about a week ago, and I had posed the question asking what type of dialogue, if any, is there less around the idea of needing to mitigate climate change by changing our carbon habits, and more around ideas of how we can adapt to climate change and in what ways the consequences of climate change can potentially be harnessed for our benefit.
So this is a great question, and it really cuts to the heart of a lot of my own research because we don't know how high greenhouse gas concentrations will get. Many of those results certainly end up being policy relevant, but none of that work is policy prescriptive, and certainly none of my orientation to that work is policy prescriptive. And I am agnostic about the potential policy outcomes. We're trying to understand how the world works, and part of how the world works is how humans interact with it. But certainly decisions about what gets done are up to above my pay grade, as some people say. Peter, thanks for joining.
I'm not so clear about the politics, how politicians and the general public see this.
I can only speak for myself, so I guess I'll speak about my experience. There's a concern that scientists are pushing a particular agenda. Scientists are pushing a particular policy outcome, and I'll say for my part, I certainly am not.
What I wanted to focus in on is talking about the difference between global warming and climate change, and then also talking about how we should move away from a mean global temperature average and look more at regional scale climate change.
This is really where the impacts of climate change are going to be felt, and in fact where they are being felt. So nobody lives in the global mean temperature. We really live in the weather that we experience on a day-to-day basis, and how that varies from season to season, how it varies from year to year. So do those two responses make sense, Sterling?
They do make sense, and if I can just ask one quick follow-up, how much inertia is there behind the latter, people actually beginning to implement strategies to adapt? Or is that still something that is happening only on a theoretical level?
Well, no, it's absolutely, we absolutely know that people are actively adapting to expected climate change.
Did you get the Fortran to work? Sorry.
No worries. I want to hear about the Fortran. I want to thank everyone for joining, thank everyone for your input, and I'm looking forward to further discussions. If there are topics that you'd like to discuss, that you'd like to see addressed in future Hangouts on Air, please do contact me, plus message me on Google Plus, or send me a note some other way, and we'll try to get it set up.